What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back for another match review stream as Spurs beat Brighton 1-0 at the Amex yesterday, which was a very emotional game for the first Spurs players, the Spurs coaching staff, and especially Antonio Conte and Fabio Paratici. Before we get into the game, let's talk about the reception that Spurs fans gave to the team, to Conte, the tributes that were going out to Ventroni. Obviously, you were there yesterday. From the outside, from watching it on TV and seeing all the clips, it looked like really emotional time. Antonio Conte, during the minute's applause, was visibly crying. I mean, it seemed like he kind of didn't want to be there yesterday, Conte, which was kind of what you kind of expect from someone that was so close to Ventroni, but he seemed to have such an influence on that team, and you could see that yesterday. But what was it like being from in the stands yesterday? Yeah, it was really heartfelt and very emotional being there. I think Spurs fans did really well bringing the Italian flags to the stadium and gave a really nice tribute to Gian, and they were singing Gian Piero, who's one of our own, during the 90 minutes as well. You could see how much it meant to everyone, and I think it was such a shock. You know, Conte said after the game that the last time he spoke to him was Thursday night, and he had no idea that after that time that was going to be the last time he spoke to him. And he said Gian was worried about missing training. He said he was feeling a bit ill, but he was worried he was going to miss training, and he wanted to come in, but Conte said told him to stay home, and that was that. And it's incredible what an impact he's made. We did a piece about him, the Marine. I don't know if it was he first joined or during the summer. It was just after that that grueling session that they put him through in Korea. Yeah. When they were doing multiple laps of the pitch, and then we found that article of he had that nickname called the Marine. Yeah, and he had his sayings, and I can't remember that right now, but he clearly had a massive impact, and he was clearly very good at his job, because every team that is under him was always one of the fittest teams in the division whenever he was there. So I think all the players have been absolutely glowing in their tributes to Gian, and how much of an impact he's made on their lives in such a short space of time. And I think all that emotion was pouring out onto the stadium yesterday. It was a really nice touch during the minute applause just before the game. As you say, Conte was in tears during that, and I think everyone was feeling quite emotional yesterday. And I think the team did him proud with how the fight they showed, and getting all 3 points. And I think you saw after the game, Harry Kane looked like he had a tear in his eye when he was doing his interview. And I think Lloris bring the shirt around and with his name on the back, you saw that it means a lot to everyone, and he won't be forgotten anytime soon. And I think it was a really fitting tribute. Yeah, absolutely spot on. And the team definitely provided for him yesterday. That 3 points was definitely for Gian Piero. But let's go on to the game. Conte starts with the 3-5-2. Finally, how everyone's been calling for it, he finally goes for it. And I think it was a really good game for him to start it with, because it worked from the off. You saw from the first minute of the game, Spurs actually came out of the blocks really fast. We were super aggressive. We were winning the ball really high up the pitch. Bissouma was just sitting, and he was letting the midfield duo of Højbjerg and Bentancur just really go for the throats of Brighton. And they were both absolutely imperious in that first 20-25 minutes. Literally like a bull in a china shop, running up the pitch, running down the pitch, winning the ball high up the pitch. Højbjerg was playing these really nice dinking balls over the top time and time again. The wing backs as well were playing really well. Doherty in the first opening 20 minutes had a couple of chances to really stamp our authority over the game. There was that one where he could have squared it to Sessegnon, and the defender just got there just before him. And there was another one at the back post where he could have hit it in the back of the net, but it went over the bar. So how did you assess the first 20 minutes? Because I thought it was probably our best 20-25 minutes of the season. Yeah, De Zerbi said after the game that in the third, he specifically pointed out those opening exchanges, saying that he expected Tottenham to go with a 3-4-3, and he actually surprised him that Spurs went with a 3-5-2, and he wasn't expecting it, and he didn't plan for that. And he said for the first 20 minutes, I made a mistake, and we hadn't planned for how Tottenham were going to build up. But I think
what I noticed was definitely the pressing structure was so much more efficient, because not only were we winning the ball more, we were winning the ball in higher areas. We weren't getting forced back as much as we were. Maybe when we were playing the 3-4-3, we weren't as easy to play through. And yes, the wing backs maybe had a bit less support from out wide from the likes of Richarlison and Son tracking back, but they had the support from inside from Højbjerg, Bentancur and Bissouma going out wide to help them. They couldn't really get the ball to McAllister and Caicedo in the centre. It was pretty much impossible to get the ball to him, because the three in the middle were just absolutely closing them down very, very quickly, and it was leading to situations where we were hurting them and winning the ball in good areas. And when we did have the ball, look, we still need to do a bit better when it comes to play, like keeping possession and stuff, but I think it was much easier for us to play down the middle than it has been. And out wide, we had a couple of opportunities, as you say. Session was doing okay. So I think what the main thing for me, what it was doing is really help break up the opposition's build-up and their football, the football they were playing. That was the main thing that was happening with the 3-5-2, and that was really positive, because Brighton, if you give them too much time and space, they're a very good footballing side. So the fact that we restricted them to how we did was very impressive. So I was very happy with that, and I think it was going. It was pretty much going really well for the first 20 minutes. We got the goal. What was that? What was in the first 20 minutes?
Yeah, it was about 20-25 minutes in, and it was a lovely. It comes from another corner, by the way. But it comes out, Højbjerg with a lovely dink over the top, like I was talking about before. Sonny, lovely shift inside or just on the outside, and then plays a nice, I don't know if it was a shot or a cross, but it ended up on Harry Kane's head and nicks it in, and it goes 1-0 to Spurs. And it was a deserved lead as well. It
was a clever header as well by Kane. At the time, it was definitely deserved. It looked like the goal was coming at that point, and we got it. And then after we got the goal, I think maybe Deserving might have made a few tactical tweaks, because Brighton did start to get back into it. Welbeck was starting to threaten. He was a bit of a problem for us throughout the game, Danny Welbeck. Trossard was getting more involved in the game, and there were periods where they were on top without really always being kept at arm's length, I felt. I can't remember, apart from that, I think they had a header which went just over or hit the top of the net.
There was that one, there was another one, I'm not sure if it was actually in the first half or the second half, but it was kind of a pop shot from about 20 yards, but nobody closed him down, and it could have gone...
That was in the first half from Welbeck.
That was it. Was it Welbeck?
Yeah, the left-footed shot from the left-hand side.
Yeah, and it just kind of went just past the post, and that could have been a dangerous position, but still, they didn't hurt us too much. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there was that one that was near the late in the game where Session gives it away on the edge of the box, and Welbeck drags it wide. But if any of those goals go in, you were saying those are unbelievable finishes from Welbeck. So these again, it just goes again a bit similar to other games where conceded a lot of shots, but as you said, the XG of the shot were probably very low, and again, it was probably very low in yesterday's game. So I think we considering the amount of trouble Brighton have given very good teams this season going forward, to restrict them as much as we did and hold strong like we did was very impressive.
But did I read that that they actually had a higher XG than us yesterday?
They had a higher XG because they had more shots. It was, as I said, XG per shot was low,
right?
But because they built up a lot of shots, they ended up having a higher XG. So I think they did have a higher XG in the end. But I think we were the ones creating the better chances.
So, I mean, first 20-25 minutes, we were so dominant. The most dominant probably I've seen us this season was who had 60% possession as well. But then by the end of the game, we again had about 44% possession, I think it was, by the end of the game. Second half starts, Brighton come out the traps like they finished the first half. And they were peppering, huffing and puffing, but without really blowing our house down. With about 20 minutes to go, Spurs change it up to 3-4-3. And I felt like we were creating a few more chances after that, but then round the back, I mean, it was kind of left it open on both sides of the pitch, didn't it?
Yeah, I think we lost that element of control in the 3-4-3. We brought on Richarlison for Bissouma, I think, whether because he had a yellow or maybe he was getting tired or whatever it was. And for that, I think it was only for a 15-minute period, and then we brought Ollie Skip on. But I thought for that period we were definitely more open. I wasn't really that happy with the control we've given up. I felt like it was much more easy to play through us than it was when we were playing in the 3-5-2. And I think maybe he thought if we go to a 3-4-3 with with Brighton committing men forward, that there'll be loads of space on the counter for the likes of Richarlison, and I think Perisic at that time was playing left wing for them to really run into, but didn't quite work out like that. I felt like what happened was we were just giving too much control to Brighton, and they looked like they were had a good chance of getting back in the game, and so he took off. I think it was Son put Skip on, ended up going back to 3 in the middle, and I think we saw out the game fairly comfortably after that. And I think for the last remaining 5 minutes, it wasn't backs against the wall kind of stuff. We actually had to just got to the corner. We were able to keep the ball in Brighton's half, and it was a good professional performance.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking in the last 15-20 minutes of the game, this has got 1-1 written all over it.
You always will.
Because exactly, and I mean, I was really nervous on the watch along for the last 10-15 minutes, because I've just seen it all before. You know what I mean? I've seen this show before, but credit to the lads. They stuck in, they dug deep, and they got the 3 points off the back of it. A couple of individual displays. First, I want to talk about the Viking, Pierre. I mean, he was my man of the match by a landslide. I thought he was absolutely sensational yesterday. Not only his defensive work, but going forward as well. I think Bissouma, sitting for us yesterday, really gave him and Bentancur really the license to get up and down the pitch as much as they can. They were playing almost like 2 number 8s yesterday, Bentancur and Højbjerg, and the amount of times Højbjerg was dinking it over the top, creating chances for us, winning the ball back in the middle of the park, interceptions. I mean, he was a man on a mission yesterday, and you could see he really wanted to do it for Antonio yesterday, and in the name of Ventroni. And you saw at the end of the game, Conte was going up to all the players and giving them hugs, but when he went up to Højbjerg, the hug he gave Højbjerg was like no hug that he ever gave yesterday. It was unbelievable, and that's exactly why, because he was absolutely sensational yesterday.
Yeah, we've been banging on about Højbjerg for a while now with the level of consistency to his displays. I think it's been pretty astounding, the consistency he's had this season and for the last few months. I think he's been not only one of the most consistent midfielders for Tottenham, but in the Premier League at the moment. He's playing that well, going forward and at the back, and he's really starting to make a difference on both ends of the pitch, and that's beautiful to see. When you go on to Bentancur, it was nice for him, nice to see him as well get forward a bit more. He had a really nice shot, didn't he, from 25 yards, which forced Sanchez into a save. And it's nice to see him have that confidence to take some shots, because a lot of the time when he gets in those kind of positions, he gives off the responsibility to someone else.
You could probably count on one hand how many shots he's taken for Spurs.
But he clearly has a good shot on him. He's got good technique, and one of the only times that he did go through 1-on-1 and score against Leicester, was a good finish as well. Like, this guy has quality, but he needs more. I don't know whether it's belief in himself or he needs more instruction to get him to shoot more and maybe be more offensive. But whenever I've seen him go forward and actually try something offensive, more often than not, he looks dangerous and looks good.
The thing is about Bentancur, usually in the 3-4-3, he doesn't have enough freedom to go as forward as he did yesterday and really strut his stuff. And I felt like he kind of had the shackles off him yesterday a little bit with that extra man in midfield, and he was given the license to roam, go forward, go back, and it really, I think, played into his game, and you really saw different attributes maybe that we haven't seen consistently from Bentancur week in, week out.
Yeah, and I think having Bissouma there definitely helped. I think being in the 3, I think we saw it in that Leicester game as well. The moment we moved to a 3, he was getting a lot more involved in the attacks, and that's something that we've been calling ever since he signed, pretty much. I think that's also something that Graham Mbappe, the Juventus fan, was saying, that he doesn't take responsibility enough in those when the ball's in the final third and when the team's going forward, and he always kind of plays it safe and just tries to keep the ball. Yeah. But we've seen it that he's got good technique, he's got really good ability. So I want to see more of that from him, and I think it's easier for him when we do go in a 3 for him to show that side of his game. And I think yesterday was I don't think I'm not saying he was like a Eriksen regen or anything like that, but he was much more positive, and because we literally do go through games where he never does a through ball, he never does a pass the whole game. So even if he does it a few times a game, I want to see it every game, just at least a few moments, because he has the ability.
Absolutely. And the third midfielder in, Yves Bissouma, got his second start of the season finally. But just like his first start, gets an early booking and kind of stifled him, didn't it, for the remainder of the the game. But even though it stifled him, I thought he walked that tightrope really well yesterday. And he kind of sat there and just let Højbjerg and Bentancur really strut their stuff.
Yeah, and even him, when he was playing, when he had the opportunity to play some quick forward passes, he was actually doing it really well. I remember there was one moment, the moment where Kane plays through Son, and Lewis Dunn got a last-minute tackle in, and Son was through one-on-one.
Yeah.
That was all led
when
because
Kane played it like round the back.
Yeah, that was all led because Bissouma gets the ball in the middle of the park and plays a really quick ball into Harry Kane, very accurate into space, and Kane had a bit of time to pick Son out, and we nearly got a goal from it. And there are a few moments like that where Bissouma was actually doing really well, but I think his passing was pretty good when it was quick. He didn't have too many like long pings across the pitch and stuff like that, but he definitely his quick passing was good. He didn't have I think he was the deepest out of the midfielders, so he didn't have too many opportunities to drive the ball forward into space, which we've seen at Brighton. That was one of his main strengths, and I don't think we've seen that and nowhere near enough in a Spurs show, that dribbling ability or that powerful running ability that he has. Haven't seen that, but I think we created a good solid base for the team to press, and I think he obviously gave Højbjerg and Bentancur the confidence to get further up the pitch, not just on the ball but pressing off the ball as well. They knew Bissouma was behind them, so they could be a bit more intense, and that allowed us to win the ball higher up the pitch and be in a bit better positions there as well. And I think again, it wasn't like maybe the Bissouma again that we've seen last season. It's
better than against West Ham, though. That's for sure.
I think it was better, but he had more protection. So,
yeah.
It was easier to be better, but he was better, and that was positive.
It's frustrating though. They keeps getting these early bookings when he starts.
Yeah, that wouldn't have helped. But I still think. Yes, maybe took some aggression out of his game because he couldn't go a bit too full throttle in case he gets another yellow. But
I think he did make a challenge late in the first half that I thought maybe he could have been another yellow card, but wasn't at the end of the day, luckily.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so that was okay. But I think in general, those three worked quite well together.
Really well.
And what I would say is as well, if we play a Liverpool or something like that, or a Man City, and having those three, I think that might be something that to seriously consider for Conte, because those three can eat up so much ground, and actually when they do play the ball forward quickly, they're all pretty good at it. They're not poor on the ball like some other defensive midfielders.
I really wish we played this 3-5-2 against Arsenal, man. I just really wish we did that, but it's gone now. It is what it is. A couple of other players, Cuti Romero, I thought he's getting back to his best now. We've been saying consistently now that he doesn't look the same player. Against Frankfurt was a step in the right direction. I think yesterday he was brilliant once again, and he kept bombing it up the field, played a really nice ball to Harry Kane to put him through on goal where Kane usually gobbles those up for fun, but he just screwed it wide once again. I mean, there's something a bit off with Harry Kane's finishing. I know he scored a brilliant header, but I'm talking about with his feet, a few against Frankfurt, which you usually think he's going to gobble those up, and the one yesterday, which you thought he was going to gobble that up as well.
Yeah, skewed it wide. I mean, it's a good sign when we're talking about Kane's finishing's not been great, and he's got 8 goals.
Yeah,
eight goals in 8 games.
Absolutely.
7 goals in 8 games.
Absolutely.
Now this season, so that goes to show the levels he's at the moment. But yeah, there were a couple of moments he could have done better, to be honest. And I think was that 4 headers now? 5 headers this season?
I think it might be 5, but he's getting a lot with his head.
He scored against Wolves. He scored yesterday. So he's got quite a few headers already this season, which is, I think, one against Forest as well. So at least 4. But what I would say about the chance that he missed, which that would be disappointing, but he did so well to turn and get into that position, which was good. And it was nice to see. It was nice to see Son and Kane were linking up a few times as well yesterday. The only thing is, sometimes I felt like when it was just those two up front, there were occasions where they were a bit isolated, and that was a bit of a problem. I felt like sometimes the wing-backs didn't support the attack enough in some occasions. But I think in general, Kane had a pretty good game again, and I think Son as well was looking threatening on the counter-attack. I think as well he played okay. So I think Son maybe even was slightly better than Kane throughout the game. But I would say it was good to see them two again linking up. And although Richarlison's been good since he's come, I don't know whether it helped not having his passing is always like going astray whenever it goes to him. It feels like that's something he needs to work on.
Yeah, and I felt he was frustrating when he came on, Richarlison. He really was. I mean, there was a couple of times where he lost the ball in really bad areas on the edge of our box. There was that one that you were talking about before when he got in a mix-up with I'm not sure who to blame, him or Sessegnon, but they both got in a bit of a mix-up. And there was another time, I think a few minutes before or a few minutes after, where he's just taking too much time on the ball in bad areas, which you can't really do at 1-0 up. You just can't do that.
Yeah, 100%. Especially so late in the game when you're holding on to a lead like that. It's criminal to make those kind of mistakes, and that's the frustration I have with Richarlison. Just a lack of care sometimes, a lack of precision in his passing. It kind of like. I don't know what it is with him. I feel like he just kind of, I don't know whether he's desperate to release the ball or he rushes things, but that composure when you're finding a teammate or having that, maybe it's just an ability thing. I don't know what it is, but his passing is something that's been a constant source of frustration for me, and hopefully he improves.
Yesterday, I don't even think it was his passing. I think he was just taking too long on the ball to make the decision, which was frustrating. And to be fair, and I thought Sonny as well was a bit guilty of taking a bit too long on the ball at times when we were on counter-attacks, not quick enough to make his decision where we could have hurt Brighton. But let's move on to the wing-backs, because there's been a lot of good stuff said about them. Sessegnon was given man of the match by Sky Sports yesterday, and I thought defensively he did a really good job up against Solly March. I mean, there were a couple of times in that first half where he did get done by Solly March, but all in all, I think that he put in a really good display.
Yeah, apart from that mistake that late on, which nearly cost us, but.
Who do you put that down to? Did you put that down to Sessegnon, or did you put that down to Richarlison?
I have to watch it again, but didn't Sessegnon just pass it straight to Welbeck?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I don't know if it was just a poor pass from Richarlison and Sessegnon couldn't really get there in time and got there a bit. I don't know. I don't know.
From what I remember, it was Sessegnon who passed it to Welbeck, but I have to watch it again. Anyway, I think in general he was pretty good. I mean, man of the match I thought was a bit of excessive, but I did think he put a good performance in. It was definitely a lot better than his performance against Leicester. Put in a really good cross, which Doherty had a half volley, which went just over the bar in the first half. That was a good moment for him. But other than that, I don't remember too many times. I remember a couple of occasions in the first half he was getting to the byline, but it wasn't as many times as maybe you'd want from a wing back.
But you know, like what we say about Conte teams, how the wing backs are like a partnership and they always link up. And we saw more of that yesterday. We saw in the early exchanges that one when Doherty fired it over the bar that came from Sessegnon, and that one where Sessegnon was at the back post and Doherty, all he needed to do was dink it into the back post, and that probably would have been 1-0 to Spurs. And so you could see Sessegnon and Doherty really trying to forge that partnership yesterday, which we maybe don't see when maybe a Perisic and Emerson are on the pitch.
I think Perisic can do it, but Emerson, he doesn't.
Yeah, but it's a partnership. You know what I mean? You need both of them on the same wavelength.
Yeah, I think Emerson doesn't really. The problem with Emerson is his crossing isn't good enough to find his fellow forward wing back at the back post, and his finishing isn't good enough to finish a wing back the wing back's cross, and that's the problem when you have a wing back who isn't that great offensively like Emerson. I think Doherty coming in yesterday, I think obviously must have been difficult with all the talk about him not being ready and stuff, and being kind of forced into it because Emerson was forced off. I actually thought I was very surprised he didn't go with Perisic. I was surprised he went with Doherty, but I did look. Was it the Doherty of last season? No, but was it much better than what we've seen so far this season? Yes, he looked a lot fitter. He looked a lot sharper, and that was that one challenge near late in the game.
Right. What a challenge!
Which if he doesn't make that, could have very easily been 1-1. So
you saw Dyer's reaction to that challenge. He goes straight up to Doherty and gives him a massive hug, and it was a really important challenge. And what we've said about Doherty is he's all right going forward, but his defensive work needs a lot of work, and that challenge pretty much saved the game in my opinion. Yeah,
so that was really positive. Going forward though, he had that chance at the back post with the half volley, which he put over. Again, not so many opportunities for him come to mind of him getting in the box, and
it was just those two moments. Wasn't it?
It was only a couple. So you know, when we're talking about Doherty of last season, he was really providing regular goal contributions and he was having lots of moments during games. So hopefully we'll get back to that. But what I would say is he definitely looked, in terms of his fitness and in terms of able to get up and down that right wing. Maybe he wasn't able to get up so much, but I think he wasn't a liability on that side, which maybe sometimes when he's being outpaced and stuff against his fellow wing back. I think he dealt with Estupinian pretty well throughout the game, and he had to go off in the end, didn't he, Estupinian? So I think it was a positive performance from Doherty. Still not his old self just yet, but like definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, but you know, that's to be expected when you're out since March with an injury that he had at the age that he's at. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be rusty when you come back, and I think that all circumstances, you know, thinking about all the circumstances, I think he put in a really good shift yesterday, Doherty, and I was really happy with him. So yeah, apart from that, I think, look, at the end of the day, I think every single player on that pitch put in a really big shift. It was a really emotional week for the club. You saw that on all the players' faces. You saw that with Antonio Conte in the press conference yesterday. You saw it from him on the sidelines yesterday. Conte was saying that he didn't need to, well, he didn't do any motivational talk with them yesterday. He let the players do it all for him, and they stood up like real men yesterday, and they got the job done. Under a big cloud of like a really devastating week for the club. So I'm really proud of the lads. I'm really proud of everyone connected with that performance yesterday. To go to the Amex, they haven't lost that there for 7 months since we beat them. Yeah. So you got
an easy place to go.
It's not at all, and that shows by their league position. Fourth, they were fourth in the league when we took them on. So you got to be really proud of the team, the way they conducted themselves yesterday, and the way they fought and got that victory, and deservedly so, I think, as well. And De Zerbi's comments after the game, I think, were a bit over the top, to be honest.
Yeah. I think I can understand his frustration, because Brighton had some moments and they probably felt like they dominated the game possession-wise, like in the end. But I think from Tottenham's point of view, sort of professional away performance, away from home in the Premier League is never easy. And we got the goal. I think we had really good pressing structure implemented. We created some big moments, and we probably created the better chances, despite the fact that Brighton had more possession. We kept them at arm's length, and I think we will feel like we deserved all 3 points the way we defended yesterday and the way we dug deep. So I think both sides can have the way they look at it, but we should be happy and proud with our display of getting all 3 points under the circumstances. And look, it keeps us in a very good way going forward, because it could have easily dropped points yesterday, and all of a sudden the start season not looking as good. But 6 wins, 2 draws, and a defeat after 9 games. Really good going. I'm very happy with that at the moment. So not much to complain about. Yeah. And I think 2 away performances as well in a row after Arsenal, where it was much improved.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that as much as it was a devastating week for Spurs, and it was tragic, absolutely tragic, what happened during the week, sometimes when stuff like this happens, can really forge a stronger bond between the group. And, you know, you saw Antonio Conte yesterday, what he was saying about the team, about how proud he is of the team and how much they stood up. So, look, it looks as though Ventroni is going to be looking down, and it's going to forge a stronger bond with the team.
Yeah, 100%. And should we take a quick look at the stats as well from the game? Just to have context of how the game went here. Let's bring them up.
to start that again. All right, let's go and have a look at the stats. Sorry about that, guys.
All right, I think it's been fixed now. So overall, you can see here Brighton had more of the stats. Though first half, you can see it was a bit more even. But Brighton 57% to Spurs 43%, but it was 8 shots to our 6, 3 shots on target each. With Brighton having 1 more shot off target. Shots inside the box was 4-2 in Brighton's favour, 4 shots each outside the box. But second half, it was a lot more dominant in Brighton's favour in the stats-wise, 61% to 39%, with Tottenham not having a shot on target in the whole second half. Brighton having 6 shots to Spurs' 2, no shots on target at all. And they had that 1 big chance. But they didn't really. They tested the keeper, only 1 shot on target throughout the game, throughout the second half. So despite having more shots, didn't really convert it into serious opportunities. If you're looking at the average positions from Tottenham's average positions, it's fairly interesting looking at Tottenham's average position, because obviously, look, Kane and Son are very central. That's what you expect. Basuma slightly behind Bentancur and Højbjerg, but those 3 very much clumped together. But what I find interesting is the wing-backs. You know, when we play 3-4-3, usually you see the wing-backs very high up, near especially Perisic. You see him in a more of a left-wing position. But Sessegnon and, more important, Doherty being very, very deep this time around, not getting forward as much. And maybe it's because we had an extra midfielder in there. He didn't want, and we're not having the wingers maybe track back. He's maybe being a bit more conservative with the wing backs, which I find interesting, especially with someone like Doherty. You think he would be a lot further forward, but
you also got to take into account the fitness of Matt Doherty as well. So maybe they were just trying to protect him a little bit more as well.
Sessegnon as well is also behind the halfway line. So I got a feeling he was just being a bit more conservative with his wing backs than he has in previous games, which I find interesting. But it's almost as if, like, looking at the average position, it's like we had 4 fullbacks and 1 centre back in a way, because we had Sessegnon and Davies are pretty much touching, and so are Romero and Doherty. They're pretty much touching, with Dyer there by himself. So I thought that's quite interesting average position from Spurs yesterday, and not maybe as totally as you would expect it, with the wing backs being so deep. You see with Brighton, they're a bit more with the 3-4. Was more of a 3-5-2 as well. With Estupinian being more of a left wing back and Solly March being more of a forward. But maybe that's why they were pegged back, just because the average position of the Brighton wide players was a bit higher. They needed to stay back a bit. Maybe that's why it was. But fairly interesting, I think, there that tells the story of the game, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that, I guess, anything else for you for the match review? That is our match review for the 1-0 win over Brighton at the Amex yesterday. A few super chats to get into. Just before we do a bit of a goal update in the Premier League.
Goal already.
West Ham are 1-0 down at the London Stadium. Andreas Pereira scoring for Fulham there. So 1-0 to Fulham. The other game going on is Crystal Palace Leeds, which is 0-0 at the moment. A super chat here from Apur Kumar, and he says, thought Davis was really good. Would you stick him in against Frankfurt, or Lenglet comes back in?
Davis. I agree. Davis was actually really good. What would I do? It's a good question. It's a very good question. I think I'll go with Lenglet. But I thought Davis did have a good return to the lineup after injury. I thought he was quite good in the last 10 minutes against Frankfurt on Wednesday. So
it's a good problem to have, isn't it?
Positive return. Exactly. And I think, and it's no surprise that's also one of the positions where Conte seems most comfortable rotating as well. So either one, I'm not too bothered, but I think Lenglet at the moment is playing a bit better than Davis.
And then also one from Jaden saying, your audio is messed up, guys. Levy out.
Yeah,
he sends a Levy out super chat literally every day, but he's sent another super chat here, and he says, let's win a trophy for Gian this season. 100%. Are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because yeah.
All right, let's go and have a look and see how. Oh, 1 second. I think there's been another goal. I think Leeds have scored.
Leeds.
I'll confirm that in a second. But let's go and see how Twitter reacted. It is 1-0. Yeah, 1-0 to Leeds. Let's go and see how Twitter reacted to the 1-0 win yesterday.
Yeah, and this is the big hug you were talking about between Højbjerg and Conte after the game. A lot of people commenting on Conte's passion after the game, how much it clearly meant to him, and you can see when he goes up to Højbjerg, and Højbjerg lifts him up. It's a big hug. It was a very emotional day. I think the emotion was pouring. I think the pride and emotion from Conte was pouring out after that game, and you could see it here. Here's the moment as well of Hugo Lloris walking after the game. This is on.
Turn your sound off. For some reason, I've turned the sound off, but it's still coming through.
There you go. Yeah?
Yeah.
This is Lloris after the game, going to the away fans.
Sorry, it's still coming through.
How's that possible?
Press that speaker on the right. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't hear it now.
Well, so this is Hugo going to the away fans after the game with the Gianpiero shirt, displaying that, which was a really nice touch after the game for Spurs to do, and yeah, I thought it was a very heartwarming moment. And for our club captain to do that, I thought it was a really, really nice moment from him and from the team. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg yesterday with the stats. He had 4 interceptions, 94 touches, 78 passes. For me, he was my man of the match. That's who I gave it to. I thought he was exceptional throughout the game. We waxed lyrical about him, but he's been so good this season. I think he's definitely gone under the radar to how good he's been, for sure, for me.
Absolutely.
And that was, the player of the match was given to Sessegnon. And apparently that's who Tottenham fans voted player of the match as well. If that's what Tottenham are tweeting out. So that's interesting why he got man of the match. I thought he had a good game, but didn't think he was man of the match. Paddy Power says, Brighton 0, Spurs 1. The home side go down fighting, but the real loser here is everyone who had to sit through 90 minutes of Conte ball.
That's such crap. I enjoyed the game yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. I don't know. Everyone said it was a terrible game. I didn't think it was.
It's just Paddy Power taking the piss.
I mean, it wasn't the best game of football, but I don't think it was a terrible game.
No,
I think
I've sat through a lot worse this season.
That's definitely true. BLTHFC says Kane has the second most goals and assists in Europe in 2022, just behind Mbappe, which is crazy. Most people would think he's having an average year, and yeah, he is having a bit of a crazy.
Only had 1 assist this season, though.
Only he's making up with goals,
Yeah.
And that's what Conte wanted, didn't he? Wanted Kane to get more goals, and we're starting to see that. I think last season, especially during that period from like February to the end of the season, he was definitely the best player in the Premier League, and he was playmaking, he was scoring, he was doing unbelievable stuff. This season, he's been a much more of a goal scorer, I feel, than creating at the moment. Here's more clips of Conte coming over to the away fans, showing his passion after the game. Really unbelievable from Antonio, and I think the fans as well were displaying how much that it meant to everyone. I think he felt that.
You could see on TV whenever they showed Antonio on how hard it was for him to be there yesterday. You really could. I mean, I wanted to cry for him. You know what I mean? He showed strong character and strong mentality to come out and do what he did yesterday.
Yeah, I felt like that as well. But that's it. That's all I have. It was mostly about the reactions after the game, which I thought was the focus of yesterday.
Absolutely. All right, let's go on and speak to some fans about the game yesterday. Fresh in his Manscaped top, we've got Mr. Daigle.
What's up, people? How we doing?
All good, mate. Brian? How are you, brother?
All good, mate. All good. Let's start off with a bit of fun. I have to say, I saw that Haaland only scored 1 goal yesterday. How fucking shit is he?
Terrible, mate.
Hashtag what a waste of money.
Apparently, they're already calling it a goal drought, Brian.
Yeah, I know, mate. Do you remember when Jimmy Greaves said? I had a goal drought worth 15 minutes of my life? I think we might have seen that echoed very, very shortly. But do you know what? I want to quickly start off with where you and me left it yesterday, Ben, about Højbjerg. And I've just seen that tweet from Spurs this morning saying most touches, most passes, most interceptions. You both know my feelings on this guy. He's been incredible this season, hasn't he?
He has, and yesterday was another level to what he'd been for the whole season. I thought he was just such a workhorse yesterday, up and down the pitch, contributing, going forward, putting out fires the other way. I mean, he was a soldier for Antonio yesterday.
He really was, and I got a bit concerned again when you see. I don't know why I got concerned, but you saw him thinking he had an injury. This man, I swear to God, he doesn't even need the magic sponge, does he? He just literally just gets up, wipe himself down, and he's good to go again. He's a machine.
Yeah, the one that we need to worry about is Harry Kane, because he limped off at the end, holding his ankles. I mean, he said after the game his ankles are fine, but you never know how these things can flare up the next day.
It's what I was saying with you yesterday as well, when David Harris made sure I had something to say, didn't he? Let's just hope it hasn't flared up this morning, because even in the Frankfurt game, he was hobbling for a bit, wasn't he? Right near the end.
Yeah.
But at least this time, straight away, we're like, off you come. And it was right near the end. Let's just hope there isn't a flare up, because losing him for both us and then you think England. I mean, England aren't looking good at the moment, period. But you take Harry Kane out of the equation, we might as well just say, yeah, we're not going to Qatar. So let's hope that he is better. But yeah, like you both saying, and Sim, you were there. It wasn't the greatest spectacle, but I think before we scored the goal, we looked really, really good offensively. We looked really, really good. You could see the difference in the 3-4-3 to the 3-5-2. I think after the goal went in, we went a bit like Mourinho-esque. We kind of sat back a bit. And I don't know if that was Brighton. Sim, you know better. You were there. I don't know if that was Brighton pressuring us or the method that Conte wanted to do. But most importantly, we held our own.
Yeah, and it was what you wanted. It was what you've been calling for, isn't it, Brian? That 3-5-2 formation for a long time now. Do you expect Spurs to, after this game, move forward with that formation either and it become our main one, or do you still think maybe he goes back to a 3-4-3 on Wednesday?
I would hope that now, if you look at it, he did it against Leicester, and we know what happened there, and then he did it in this game, and we've got away with we've got 2 wins from it. All right, the Leicester game, we didn't play for it as long as obviously we did this game, but that's 2 performances where we've churned out victories. So you got to think there's something there for him to think about now, isn't there? There's got to be something to say, right, I can play this formation with the players I've got. And like we said, and like Ben was saying as well, with Richarlison yesterday, he didn't look good. And I heard you talking about the error. Was it Sessegnon pass or was it Richarlison? Yeah. I think it was a bit of both. Yeah. I think it was a bad pass by Sessegnon to even try like a hospital ball, and then, as I said, Richarlison, who had his bouncy castles on as if football boots, just seemed to come off him and put us in trouble. He's got to work on that first touch.
Hey, Brian, I think I'd watch yourself saying anything about Richarlison, because we got his best mate in the chat.
Yeah, Boo Boo's about. I've been dubbed for a Brazilian. I'm hurt. So yeah, I will say I feel hurt. I can see he should put a super chat in. What's he saying?
The super chat from Bob Spur says, isn't it ironic our lack of midfield presence seems to be the go-to narrative, yet Benty and Højbjerg have probably been our best 2 players. Big up.
Yeah,
what do you say to that?
I'm in completely agreement with my former best friend. What can I say? Bentancur, the last few games, I think, has stuck out a bit more, especially in the North London derby. Bentancur, for me, was the only one that could come up with his head held high in that game. But Højbjerg has just been awesome. I'm in agreement with him. I think personally they've both been our most consistent players. Yes, Kane's got the goals. Yes, Son had the moments with the hat trick. But I think for consistency, you have to look at those 2. I don't think you can look much further. I think he's bang on the money.
Yeah. In terms of the performance yesterday in general, was it more of the same from Tottenham? Was it improvement? Like, how did you feel in general?
So I put a tweet out yesterday once I got home and took stock of everything. And you know what? This victory for me is a colossus one. And the reason I say that is obviously the mental anguish, the emotional pain and torture the whole club have been through with the tragic news. This could have affected them in so many ways. And you could see, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but Antonio Conte, you could see, is clearly not right. He's not right, and fairly so. Everyone would be in the same position, and and the players did a job for him. If the players had been like performing how he was feeling, we probably would have got a defeat, because obviously our head weren't there. You could see Conte probably would have wanted to be anywhere but there. The emotional, you could see the anguish in his face. I think if the team had been like on the pitch, you probably would have seen a defeat. But they pulled together as one, and they really did pull together for the Marine, for his family, for Conte, and just said, listen, we've got your back. Don't worry, we've got you this time. And I think for the mental strength, the confidence, and the team bonding, that victory is probably the biggest one we've had, not even just this season, probably in recent times, because of everything that was going through. I think playing through that pain and heartache, both on a emotional and mental level, I think this is going to be, it will do wonders for the team as a whole. I really do.
Yeah, I really hope so, and I kind of agree with you. I think it will as well. But talk to me a bit about Cuti Romero, because Romero, we've said consistently here on this channel that he hasn't looked right since his injury. A bit of an improved performance at Frankfurt. How do you think he was yesterday?
Shaky again now. Yeah, but by his standards, I think Dyer and Davies were the better two by far. And for me, and this isn't me, this is a little dig at Levy, but this isn't me making a huge thing about it, because that's not what this is about. This, again, he's been rushed back from injury too soon, I think, and obviously the international duty where he's at Argentina. I just think, again, don't get me wrong, Romero, we know when he was injured last time, he was like, I'm ready, and he's so eager to play, which is a good thing and shows his commitment to the club. I just think he's come back too soon. I really do. When it's an injury like that, you got to be careful that it doesn't flare up again, or it isn't too soon. And I think that's had an effect on him. And if there was a better quality of player there, he may have had a bit longer to recover. Do I think Romero will get back to the standards we saw last season? 100%. But I just think he hasn't had the time, and especially with this period now where games are just coming so thick and fast, like nothing we've seen before, apart from the Christmas period of 3 weeks. I think this is having an effect on him. I really do. I mean, I kind of wish that if we'd picked up a win or a point at Sporting Lisbon and got a win at Frankfurt, we maybe have had the novelty or the confidence to say, right, you can be rested on Wednesday against Frankfurt or in an upcoming game, because then you could have time to recover. But obviously we haven't at the moment. So will he become back?
We got Big Dave. We got Big Dave.
Listen, you know me. I try to stick up for Sanchez as much as I can, but like I said to you, Sanchez is the only player that the more minutes he gets, the worse he gets. Literally, he comes in and normally does a job, but would you trust Sanchez right now? And this Champions League game is it obviously is a must win. They all are, in honestly, but the way the group is set, we have 3 points is the bare minimum what we, or the only outcome, that we can get. And Romero will have to start for that reason, I believe. What are you guys doing? Simeon, what did you think yesterday of him?
I thought he played well. I was pretty happy with him, Romero, yesterday. I thought, again, I thought against Frankfurt he played well. And I don't think he's been amazing this season, but I thought in general he's been fairly disappointing since he had come back from his injury. But I think his last two performances have been strong. So I've been a lot happy with him over the last couple of games.
I feel the same. I thought yesterday was his best performance since his injury. I thought he was really good yesterday. There's been another goal in the Premier League, and Odison Edouard has levelled it for Crystal Palace. It's 1-1 against Leeds United. Olise getting the assist there for you FPL enthusiasts. But Brian...
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on today, my friend. And
always a pleasure.
We'll see you next time. Are you going to be dining in your sukkah tonight?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. We've built one on our third floor balcony. Yeah, I won't be doing that. But if you need your sat nav bed on the way home, then you know what to do.
Of course, my friend, of course.
All right, boys. Listen, I will speak to you both very soon. Everyone have a great week. Whoever's in the back end, have a great week. Whoever's in the chat, have a great week. And you boys, I'll speak to you very soon.
Up the Spurs. Come on.
One.
Up the Spurs. See you later, boys.
See you later, Brian. We have got Gabby, Earth of Spurs, coming on next. How you doing, Gabby?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you boys doing?
Yeah, good. I mean, it was a very important victory yesterday under really difficult circumstances. What did you make out of the game?
I'll say, yeah, it was. I mean, we all knew before the game it would be insanely difficult, and it was. I have to agree. Like, I was like on my channel in my match review, I said the first point I made was I can't believe Sessegnon got man of the match because he was beaten by March a lot. It was actually I think 79th minute. I remember watching like finally he got the ball off March. He didn't let him past him, and he somehow got man of the match. So fair play to Sessegnon for pulling that off. But Højbjerg, not only in this match but many matches, he has been uh, such a player, and I'm so happy. Real Madrid didn't replace Casemiro with him in the end, but I'm sure they're keeping tabs on him because he is playing some insane football.
Yeah, he's playing very well at the moment, isn't he, Pierre? How did you think the switch in general yesterday in the formation went? Were you happy with it? Do you think Conte might go back to the 3-5-2? What did you think? To the 3-4-3.
So I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it's clear now that like if he does want to switch things up, this formation is a formation that we can rely on. We are looking at Højbjerg and Bentancur as our main creative players, and if we can go into this formation, then Bissouma can stay in the midfield and give Højbjerg and Bentancur just freedom to try and create something, because players like Emerson Royale won't be the ones creating things for us.
Sorry, just to stop you, there's a bit of an update in the West Ham game. It's a penalty at the moment to West Ham United. So we'll see what happens there. We'll keep you updated as and when it goes in. What did you make out, or you said Sessegnon, but what did you make out of Doherty yesterday? Because there's been a lot of praise coming in for him. Obviously, he's been out since March, so I mean, he hasn't had much match practice. But how do you think he fared when he came in?
Yeah, I also I also said before, it's better. It's an improvement on Emerson, but it's still like not good enough. And obviously, like he knows it's not his best. Obviously, a lot of us are still sad we're not seeing Spence. But Doherty wasn't too bad, and he did come in with that crucial tackle at the end where it almost made Eric Dyer want to kiss him. So yeah, he wasn't too bad. Potential.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the game generally and how it is in the context of our season, we've struggled away from home. Obviously, we got the goal in the end. We got the win yesterday. Was it more of the same yesterday for you in terms of how it's seen as the season in general, or do you think like it was an improvement and we're actually moving in the right direction?
I mean, I know what Paddy Power, when you read that tweet, I know what they were talking about. We haven't played the most attractive football this season, but for what happened with Ventrone, I think it was slightly different in terms of because of those circumstances, we did so well to get that win. Away we barely, in the last 5 before that match, we'd won 1 away. So we did so well to get that win, and we can't complain too much about that match. We have to look ahead to Frankfurt, and fair play for you lads to go all the way to Frankfurt and watch that. I got up here in Korea at 4 a.m. to watch that, but it's worse for you guys that you went, but I'm sure you made a trip out of it.
We had a great time. Don't you worry about that.
Okay, good.
But Gabby, just onwards and upwards now. We move on to Frankfurt and then Everton next weekend, so the games don't stop there. But thanks for coming on today, my friend.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a good one.
And to you, mate. Up the Spurs. So it was 1-1 with West Ham. Jared Bowen hitting the penalty. I think Dawson actually got the assist for that one. But it's 1-1 West Ham. So 1-1 in both games so far. Let's go on to our next guest, and he goes by the name of Sean. Hi, Sean. How are you, mate?
Hello. Can you hear me? I'm good.
I can hear you. Yes,
Yeah, we can hear you,
I can
Sean.
hear you. How you doing? You all right?
Okay, nice. I'm good. I'm really good. I'm very good. Very good.
You happy with the
Yeah.
performance and the win yesterday?
Yeah. Listen, Brighton is a really hard place to go to. They haven't lost a game at home since we came
Yeah.
in March, so it's not easy. We put past 3 against Liverpool last game, so I'm happy under these circumstances with the Marine dying and stuff. Couldn't be happier.
In terms of individual displays yesterday, who really stood out for you?
Davis Dyer played solid. Doherty, well, he's much better than Emerson, so it's not which is not really hard. But Højbjerg, Bentancur played good, so it's a pretty good performance. None of them really stood out except maybe Højbjerg and Bentancur, which played pretty solid. But yeah, I'm happy.
And
yeah,
go on.
in terms of like away performance in general, is this a much better away performance than we've seen recently, or is it more of the same, do you think?
Yeah, much better. Against Nottingham, like European was horrible. I was at the Frankfurt game, horrible game. The Sporting horrible. Premier League, we were not existent in Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, West Ham. So against Brighton, a hard opponent at home, really good. It's a good performance.
And with the formation we played, we changed it up to 3-5-2 yesterday. Is this something you'd like to see more of moving into the season now?
Depends who we play.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the problem with Bissouma, Bentancur, and Højbjerg is like they're the same player, just Control C, Control V. So none of them can maybe Bentancur can put a pass, but Bissouma, Højbjerg are not the most creative. Like if we had a Madison with Bentancur and Bissouma, or Bentancur and Højbjerg, it would be perfect. Because we're just playing with 3 defensive midfielders and Son and Kane, which is, Kane drops back, finds Son. We just, you don't need to be a tactical genius to figure this out. It's pretty easy to, really one-dimensional.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of people in the comments,
against,
Sean.
like a bigger team.
We got a lot of people in the comments, Sean, saying that that you're a doppelganger of Sim over here. You're just Sim with more hair.
Me with more hair? I don't know. I don't really see it.
Who else thinks Sean looks like Sim?
I think it's a compliment. It's a compliment.
It's definitely a compliment. Definitely a compliment. Yeah, so I mean, good performance yesterday, good win. So you're looking forward to moving into the season. Maybe this kind of, under those circumstances, it can galvanise the team and bring them closer together. What would you say to that? Oh, I think he's frozen there.
Oh, was he gone?
Oh, dying. This is the confidence, like the stick, I don't know how do you say it in English, but but they will like stick together. But we need it's like everyone is like together now, like togetherness now, which is really important after like the circumstances. Like it's really sad that he's died, but if you look, it's really sad, but this win is really important, because after North London derby, because we got really downhill, like avalanche down. So
Sean, where are you calling from?
I'm from Israel. I saw you
I thought so.
Sami
I
Ofer
thought
game,
so.
if you remember. Yeah.
You saw us at the Arsenal game.
No, Sami
now,
Ofer.
Oh.
Started off
In Haifa.
Haifa.
Yeah.
Now I'm in London.
All right, I think the connection's just breaking up there. Thanks for coming on, Sean. Really good to get your thoughts
in London,
there.
So
Israeli in London, loving it.
come meet us at a Spurs game.
Thanks for coming on, Sean. We are going to have to move on, but who's coming on next? Oh, it's the man, the myth, the legend, KPV. He's just had a haircut. He's had a shower. He's washed his hair. How you doing?
I'm good, and I just had a shave.
Oh, you had a shave as well. Looking fresh, KPV. Looking fresh.
Yeah, I just had those so I can get ready for Wednesday. So yeah, I needed to look fresh, ready for Wednesday, ready for the big game, a must win. We need, obviously, I need to get fresh, ready for Wednesday. So yeah. And
Antonio called for the Spurs fans to create an amazing atmosphere on Wednesday night. So you got your singing voice ready?
Of course I have. Why? I always have it. Like, we need to make the best atmosphere, but let's be honest, it won't beat the atmosphere that you two were when it was the North London derby at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium earlier this year. So, but it's not going to beat that, I'm afraid. So, but yeah, thanks for that, Antonio. Like, and I also forgot to say yesterday, I just want to say thank you to the Brighton fans who showed their respect to Gian Piero, because there's only one Gian Piero, one Gian Piero. There's only one Gian Piero. So everyone, make sure you sing that on Wednesday, because he would be proud of us, and Harry Kane pointed up to him, so he would be proud. Like, I'm excited for Wednesday, but because Barry's not here, I'm going to give Højbjerg man a match.
What did Barry have to say?
Barry gave it to Sessegnon, and Carl went to side with Barry instead of me yesterday.
But
shocking,
Barry's
Carl.
not here.
Shocking.
Barry's not here. So change of plan. But the fans vote for Sess, then there's nothing we can't do. But yeah, the fans vote for him, but there's nothing we can do. But Højbjerg, since Barry's not here, or Nick, whatever his name is, and whatever his name is, Nick or Barry, call him what you want. And the Brighton manager can moan all he wants, but we deserve to win. He said they didn't deserve to lose. Give me a break. You got done over yesterday, and so stop your moaning, because he can't beat Conte. They've played 4 times, I think, and Conte's won 4 and he's not won. So Conte's not lost to him. So Conte is undefeated.
100%. Exactly.
He
can't get the better of him.
He can't get the better of Antonio. So, yeah, everyone make an atmosphere for Wednesday. We're going to need the 3 points. And if Marseille beats Sporting, then I believe we go top, is what my mate said.
We do.
So hopefully Marseille can win, because I want to go top, because I don't want to finish second, because whoever finishes second in their group, we can't play. I just don't want the big boys. I don't. If we qualify for the next round, which we will. We've got Frankfurt Wednesday, Everton, I believe Sporting, and Man United afterwards. And so, yeah, big game coming up. Kula should be back for the Man United game, I think. Because the 3-4-3 don't work, but 3-5-2, I think that's what I want to see in that game. But Kula can play a wing back, because Moses has done it before. So, yeah, put Kulu there, then we'll be smashing teams apart. So,
damn right.
Yeah, I'll see you Wednesday, boys. And as always, Levy out.
Big up, Kyle. Thanks for coming on today. We'll see you next time. Oh boy. First of all, before we get into the next caller, we're gonna go to a super chat from the Joracle, and he says Gian Piero's memory should be honoured by making N17 into a warrior's fortress. Let the opponents face the wall of noise. Absolutely spot on from the Joracle there. But it's time for box office. It's time for the box office. Alex, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, is he there? Is he on mute?
Can't hear you, Alex.
Nothing's no audio, Alex.
Is it our end or is it his? It's his end. It's your end, Alex.
All right, give him 2 minutes.
We'll go to our next guest, Alex, and we'll bring you on next.
I'll go
Aravind, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Obviously, proud of the lads yesterday for the brilliant 1-0 win at the Amex. How did you assess the performance yesterday?
I mean, it wasn't a great performance, but I think so. Like, it was a hard fought performance, but especially of what happened last week with the passing of Piero. It's actually a good performance, and you can see all the players were really emotional. They weren't like I wouldn't say motivated, but they weren't mentally prepared for this game to play because he's been a central figure for everyone, and especially I was seeing videos of Son Heung-min and Piero hugging each other. That was I couldn't take tears out of my eyes. I think so that's something crucial. I think so there's a personal relationship with Son and Piero. And it was seen really well by the players, especially like this. So that was something which I really wanted to note from yesterday's game. But talking about the game, for me to be really honest, like I don't think so. Ryan Sessegnon was the man of the match against Brighton. He had a good game, but when he came to like crucial positions in the final third where he was lacking bit of quality up front. I mean, generally the play from everyone was okay, but for me, I think so. Matt Doherty played really well yesterday. He was actually really good.
In terms of the man of the match, though, you said it wasn't Seston. Who would have you given it to?
I would have given to either Højbjerg or Doherty, especially Doherty for that last ditch challenge. I think so that may have gone for a goal. That was a really crucial defending, and everyone has been talking about Doherty's defending is not great when compared to Emerson. I'm not saying Doherty is the answer for our future, but he was doing that really well against us, and he's 100 times much better in the offensive side than what Emerson is doing. If Doherty's really fit and he was 100% fit on Tuesday, he needs to start against Frankfurt. I don't want Emerson to start because up forward he goes into good positions, and that first 20 minutes he was into good positions. Yes, his quality is a bit lacking when he comes, but he can score goals for us. So for me, Matt Doherty needs to start for the crucial matches, and this is a crucial decision Conte needs to take. I agree. Behind Spence should not start then Emerson because he's not saying is ready. But for me, Matt Doherty should be starting for us. If he's fully fit, he goes straight into the starting 11. He was the man who gave us crucial goals, and he's been doing really well since Conte has come last season before his injury. I'm not saying he's one of the greatest player. He needs to start week in and week out. But when you compare Emerson and Doherty, for me, Doherty starts.
Yeah, I hear that. And you thought yesterday that, like, based on yesterday's performance, Doherty was back to his best, or is still a work in progress?
I wouldn't say back to his best, but he's still finding his way through his injury. But it was really good signs from him. It was very well played from him from his side. And only thing which is worrying is I don't think so Son is still fully ready. Is it because of I know it's been past few weeks has not been really great. I don't know whether this week was more because of the death which has happened in this week. He wasn't fully like concentrated or fully fit. I'm not sure what's going on because this Son Heung-min is totally different of what I've seen from last season. Something is still not right with him. Is it because the system is not suited for him, or he's not mentally ready, or that needs to be sorted out for him? Otherwise, I would say this was more of for me, if you actually see the real man of the match was the whole team. That I would give it to the whole team. There was like a standout performance for him. It was a good Conte performance. I would say that.
What did you think of Basuma in his second start in a Tottenham shirt?
As yeah, and I've been saying Bissouma is really crucial for this team. I think so. Is really when he's on form, he's really good. I didn't think so. He had a really good game. Like he wasn't like at his best when you see what he does for Brighton. He had a really good game, but for me, right, in this January transfer window, we need to go for a attacking midfielder. Like you we are finding really hard for Kane and Son for someone to like actually give them the balls or someone who can actually score goals. I feel he's more of the same type of Bentancur and Højbjerg. It was more of defensive way of how we are playing. Like so that's something which we need to clarify in the January transfer window. We have 5 games to go before the World Cup comes, and then comes the January transfer window. And the two crucial positions which we really need to fill is attacking midfield and right wing back, and that would actually give something to go. And I really feel by December we'll be in the top of 3 or 4 points of the title. And by that time, if this club can actually go and say, here, these are the 3 players I'm giving you, quality players, not like average players, 3 quality players into the squad, there's something to fight for this season.
Absolutely. All right, Aravind, thanks for coming on, my friend. Always good to get your views, and we'll see you next time.
Come on, you Spurs. Yeah, sure.
Come on. Big up. And now it's time for the box office. Let's see if he's got his audio working. Mr. Box Office. We still can't hear you, my friend.
Still mute.
Can you hear me?
There we go. I can hear you now.
Yeah, I put it on mute. Oh, yeah. I put it on mute. Yeah.
Where do you want to start, Mr. Box Office?
For some reason, but yeah, sorry about the photo. But yeah, it's only because the reason I actually like you guys, I'm actually coming on, to be honest with you, because to be honest with you, there's not really that much to say, really, because of circumstances, what happened yesterday. Because I think I still stand by what I say, and I stand by what I say. You know, you could see it in Kane's eyes, and you could see Conte wasn't there completely. Yeah, and I don't think that's going to be like. I think that's going to be the case for quite a while, to be honest with you, because things like this don't just, fits itself straight away, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So yeah, well done to the guys. One thing I will say though, we look bang average without Kane and Son. Honestly, we look so bang average. Honestly,
You're talking about in the last 10 minutes or so?
Honestly, no, we look bang average. The fact is, those strikers have got us through games, and it's clear to see. The whole thing with Bentancur, I mean, Højbjerg was the best one out of all of them, but he was doing his job. And that's been kind. That's been very kind. Bentancur is not a creative midfielder. I think the whole myth about this 3-5-2, I'm sorry, it don't work when you've got Bentancur and Bissouma and Bentancur in midfield. It don't work. You need an attacking midfielder in there. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. The fact that Sessegnon got man of the match, I don't get that. I was sitting in my seat. What are you watching? What are you actually
Who was
watching?
your man of the match yesterday?
Well, if you really have to put it down to somebody, it would be it would be Højbjerg, because he's done his job. That's it.
Do you not think, though? Do you not think especially in the first half, that the 3-5-2 was working, and Højbjerg and Bentancur both getting up the pitch, winning the ball high up the pitch? We had chances to score even more goals as well.
That was because of Harry Kane and Son, though, mate. I'm sorry, I don't get it with the whole thing with Bentancur. Maybe because I'm looking at the whole thing with Dembele and Ericsson, and then I watch the way that Maddison played, and for me, I think that's just what we're missing at the moment. I'm not saying it's a complete answer, because it has to all flow and it has to all connect, like we did with Poch, which I don't want to go back to that, but that's the whole point I'm saying. It's just like, when you see the way that Brighton were playing, it was all flowing. And the only thing that was the problem is that we have Harry Kane, they've got Welbeck. And that's been the case for quite a while with Tottenham. All the games I've seen, and this is even last season as well, because unfortunately people can't hear the truth, because they tap out in shows because they don't like hearing the truth. You know what I mean? Like I said, unfortunately, because of our strikers, and this is going to be a problem when Harry Kane and Son are gone. This is going to be a problem. I don't think, unfortunately, the strikers that we put on loan, you put that pressure on them, they're going to struggle. You know what I mean? The fact that Harry Kane and Son have kept going for this long, it's been amazing, to be honest with you. And I'm sorry. I think the thing that makes it bad, the whole thing with them two, is that we ain't won a trophy because it's excuses now for me. Because the way that they've carried this team on their back, you should be winning a trophy. No questions asked. Because you can perform like that and win a trophy.
Listen,
you can perform like that and win a Carabao Cup.
Don't
you can
all
perform
teams
like that and win an FA Cup. You know what I mean?
Alex,
perform like that and get a European Conference League. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to. Listen, I'm not going back what I said earlier. Last thing I said last show to you, the pre-match about the whole thing, what was going on emotionally. I'm not getting onto that. I'm seeing what's on the football. I've addressed what's happened this week. I've said it's a bad week for Tottenham. I've said it's not going to be all roses. You know what I mean? Because Conte, I've got respect for him because, you know, his family's all in Italy, by the way. So this is his family, by the way, his coaching staff. So I can get it. I get it completely. Yeah. But on the football side of things, that ain't good. We're not good enough. And
don't all clubs rely on their best players though? When you look at Liverpool, have they not relied on Mo Salah and Sadio Mane over the years? When you look at Real Madrid last year in that run to the Champions League, didn't they rely heavily on Benzema to get them through in every game? Ended up winning the Champions League. I mean, don't all big clubs, maybe Man City aside, really rely on their big players?
But they got trophies though, mate.
It's coming. We've got Antonio Conte. He hasn't even had a full season yet.
No, yeah, but I'm not pointing this out at the moment. This is why there's pressure on us to get a trophy this season, Ben. This is why I'm saying there is pressure on us. If we don't get a trophy this season, second in the Premier League is not good enough. We need trophies, and that's what I'm saying. At the moment, when you've got two world-class players and you're not winning trophies, there is a problem here. And that's why we don't want to talk about people like the people that we call, well, I'll say Sol Campbell because I'm not going to say the T word because you don't want to hear that. But this is why people like Ledley King was lucky to keep him, even though he got injuries. And people leave our club because we don't win trophies. And yeah, you can look at Daniel Levy as well because let's be honest here, he should have done what he should have done. Yeah, we can look at Daniel Levy as well because he's to blame as well, 100%. He's not coming out with any any flowers at all out of this. Completely no. But the players have to take some of the responsibility as well as some of the managers as well, because literally, I'm looking at Kane and Son. If you don't have those two players in that team, it looks like another Brighton team. Well, no, it looks like another Burnley team for me. Another Burnley team. That's how it is. That's how it is, unfortunately, because that midfield's not good enough. It's not good enough. Brighton were doing some good stuff there, and if they didn't have Welbeck wasn't up front, if they had Harry Kane up front, he would have scored that chance. Welbeck scored because they had some good chances there, but they didn't take it because they didn't have a striker, and that's been a story for quite a while with Tottenham for so long now. And I'm getting to that point now where I can't lie to you guys. I just can't do it. I know people say to me, "Oh, you need to be positive," but I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. And until I want them to prove me wrong. I want them to prove me wrong.
So what needs to change, Alex?
Really can't say it.
What needs to change? What needs to change?
We need a central midfield. We need an attacking midfielder. That's one thing. Unfortunately we had Dembele and no one can be like Dembele. Yeah. But we need somebody who's going to run for the lines, like someone like that Leicester player. I can't remember his name now. Who plays up front? It's not Maddison. I can't remember his name anyway. But someone could say it in the comments, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I just think that we need somebody, and we need defenders that are actually going to want to take risks as well with the ball, because who are good on the ball as well. We can't have Romero and Dyer. I'm sorry. Dyer has got to do a lot more to prove to me that you are actually an elite defender. Because at the moment, Saliba for Arsenal is showing more than Van Dijk, being more like Van Dijk than Dyer ever could be. I'm sorry, he's doing a good job, but unfortunately, just because you replace Maguire, because Maguire's having a bad day in England, don't mean that you're a good defender, mate. You know what I mean? You're just another bang average defender. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Davis, and I've defended Davis, and I'm looking stupid saying this. Davis, I'm sorry, needs to do more as well. And this is now, if you want championship and wanting trophies now, you're going to have to start looking at it like that as well. And that's it. I will just keep it short and sweet, because I think at the end of the day, we've got to be respectful to the fact that we did win today, and well done because of the circumstances. So, you know, for the memory of the coach, and I can't pronounce his name, so I do apologize.
Ventrone, yeah.
I want to keep it short and sweet. But for me, it just I can't sit here and not be honest about it. What I saw, we should beat Frankfurt because, again, we've got the better players. But that doesn't tell you the whole story, doesn't it? You know what I mean? But yeah, you know, another truth from Mr. Box Office, like I said, and it is now Mr. Box Office now, because I'm not Alex. Alex is gone now. He's gone off YouTube now, and that's it. He's disappeared. He's done.
You need to start putting your name in his Mixed Box Office when you come on.
He's done. It's Alex THSC, aka Mr. Box Office. Now you address me as it anyway. But I'll see you guys later, man. Take care of yourselves. And Mr. Box Office is out of here. Yeah, take care of yourselves. Yeah.
See you Wednesday night, Alex.
Nice one,
Take care. Bye bye.
Mixer Box Office with the mic drop once again over there. Let's move on. Back in his car, we've got Josh, Spurs Debate TV. How you doing, my friend?
Yes, boys. From box office to samosas, man. What a drop.
Exactly. How you doing? You good?
You get a box of samosas with me. That's all you get over here, man.
Yeah.
No office.
From box office to box of samosas. What did you make out of the performance yesterday?
Yeah, look, man, happy with the 3 points. It was a bit of a tough watch. We went away to a difficult ground, and we stole 3 points where no other team's been able to do it since we last did it. So, you know, from that point of view, great. But obviously there is pain in watching Tottenham at the moment. I mean, you know, you were on the watch along, Ben, and I wasn't watching it, to be honest with you, but I saw highlights of it after, and I could just see you representing every Tottenham fan for the last 15 minutes, because we're all thinking at some point, Welbeck, typical, is gonna flick one in, or someone's gonna do something. But look, what I'm pleased to see, guys, and is one of the kind of main points I wanted to make to all the Tottenham fans watching this, is we now potentially could have 2 systems that we could use depending on the opposition, home and away. And that, I think, is an evolution of Conte ball, because yes, it's not pretty on the eye. Yes, we get pissed off when we drop back deep like we did against Arsenal. Yes, we want to be scoring 2s and 3s and 4s like we did this time. Well, not this time last year, but after the January window last year. That's yet to come. We'll get Kulu back, get Richie more into this type of play, Perisic as well, and maybe sign a couple more players in the window. But for now, I'm just happy to see us have 2 systems, because at least that way, like Brighton got caught out, like the manager said in the first 20, I got it wrong. I was expecting a 3-4-3. At least we've got a plan B. When did Spurs ever have a last ever plan B? And I think if we can master, and the players can master both systems that are interchangeable during the game, which is what, you know, which is what we did against Brighton. They couldn't live with the 3-5-2 in the beginning, and then obviously when we went 3-4-3, yes, we didn't score, but you know, we were still in the game. We were still, like, you know, Brighton didn't completely, the way people are talking in the second half, like they completely control the game. I don't agree. They were in the game, but they didn't completely control the game. So to have 2 systems, I think going into the next few games, for Conte to play with that, for the players to train different ways, to catch teams out, to have teams guessing, I think is a plus, guys. And that's what I want to see more of. I want to see that interchanging system depending on the circumstances and the opposition and the personnel we've got available. Because when we do have a full fit squad and Kulu's back and Richarlison's obviously fit, Kane and Son, he may have pressure to go 3 up top. You know, he may have to do that, Conte. Or you might want to stick someone in as a 10. Maybe Kane sticks in as a 10 and Richie comes up top, or Kulusevski goes in a 10 and they interchange. But I'm just happy to see Tottenham have a plan B, because how many times have we sat there this season and gone, it's 3-4-3, the other teams worked us out and we've got nowhere to go. So I think that's a big plus, guys. And I think that's everyone has to keep that point in mind, is we can now have a little bit of flexibility that we didn't have earlier in the season.
Yeah, in terms of our away form in general, Josh, I think that's 2 wins now in 8 games, with 2 defeats and 4 draws. Do you believe with the away form? Obviously, we've faced some tough teams. Do you believe our away form is as bad as people think it is, or is it just because of the nature of the opposition that maybe we're not getting results and performances right now away from them? Albeit we did get the win yesterday, so that's a plus.
Chelsea away, you could argue we're lucky. West Ham away, you could argue we're lucky to hang in there. Arsenal away, we got dealt what we deserved. because we sat too deep and he probably got the formation wrong there. He should have played this formation last week. It would have stifled Arsenal in midfield. But, you know, to go to Frankfurt off the back of a 3-1 battering, let's be honest, keep a clean sheet in one of the most difficult atmospheres away. And then to keep a clean sheet away again 3 days later, having lost, you know, Guatroni is credit to the players. I mean, maybe losing Guatroni gave them the motivation to play harder. You know, maybe if Guatroni's still with us, these players don't put in that extra yard. You never know, right? Because Sessegnon come out and said, we had to do this for the manager, like, you know, for everyone. It's an emotional situation. So the squad galvanized over the weekend, over Thursday and Friday to put in that performance. But look, what's our next away game?
Man U, I think. Yeah, Man U.
Yeah, so that's the acid test, to go to Man United, who are better than last season, who may today prove to be again progressing, trying to catch us, be on our shoulders. So that's the next acid test, and that's where people will say, right, is Conte going to go 3-4-3 with that hard back, that kind of deep back line, which I'm not a fan of. I don't mind if teams want to catch us on the counter, I'm cool. But then for me, it's like, we're going to go for it, we're going to win. This whole thing of like, you know, shut up shop. It's difficult, guys, but it's winning us games at the moment. Away from home to Man United, that will be the acid test when you've got Bruno and Eriksen, Rashford, Martial, and Anthony doing all their stuff on the pitch. You know, they've got pace and they've got some good players now. So that will be the test on that one, Sim, is whether our away form has improved or whether yesterday was just a reaction of the passing of Gian.
Yeah, I mean, I guess time will tell, but I think at times like this, it could make the bond of the team really strong, but not just for the near future, but, you know, it could be a long-lasting effect with Conte and the team, and let's hope that does happen. Let's do it this season in the name of Gianni Piero Ventroni. But Josh, thanks for coming.
I think the worry is, I was going to say, Ben, on that, you know, we've lost him, which is obviously super sad, right? The guy was too young to go. But I think that the bigger loss is there isn't a replacement, as far as I know. I mean, who's going to step in his shoes? Yeah. And who do we bring in of his quality that understands Conte, that understands, you know, the players? This guy spent, you know, a long time here now. He's been here over a year. So he understands the profile of each player, the weaknesses, the strengths. So I think the bigger worry is, whilst we mourn his passing and whilst we will do for the next few weeks, and we'll miss him on the pitch, off the pitch we'll miss him, is how it affects us on the pitch, because who's going to come in and do his job? And this is where Levy and Paratici and Conte have got another responsibility now. They need to go and find the next best thing and replace him ASAP, because sports science runs in parallel with the manager now. You know, it's not back in the day where your sports science was secondary. It's so important, and fitness and all that good stuff. So let's hope, mate. Let's hope we get someone decent in, and let's hope the team performs for him on Wednesday when we're going to be at home. So,
absolutely.
Come on, you
Josh.
Spurs on Wednesday.
Come on, you Spurs. Great call as always,
Wicked,
Josh.
boys. Have a good one, mate. Have a good one.
We'll see you next time. Big up to Josh. Got another super chat here from the Joracle, and he says the 3-5-2 likely helps the players keep the higher line of a mid block, which has been lacking in our worst performances lately. What would you say to that, Sim?
I think that's true, and I think I've said that. You know, one of our bigger problems is that we're just too deep at the moment and we can't push up. The pressing isn't allow us to win the ball hard at the pitch, and that definitely helped in that aspect. Obviously, we lost in some other aspects, but that aspect it definitely did help.
All right, next caller, 6 Yard Box. How you doing, my friend?
Is he on mute?
We can't hear you, my friend.
No.
That's
there you
that's
go. There you go.
like schoolboy error there, man.
It's all good. It's not your first rodeo.
Yep.
How you doing? You good?
I know. Yeah, I'm all right, man. How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Happy with the display yesterday. Happy with the 3 points. How did you assess it?
Yeah, the same thing. The same thing for me. It's all about just getting points on the table. People like getting a bit confused in terms of entertainment and winning football matches. And the manager, from what he said so far, is not going to sacrifice that. It's not going to sacrifice the way we are set up and everything, the way we are difficult to beat for entertainment. And he really said it. So people just have to get used to it. They have to get used to it.
And when you're looking at the, finally went 3-5-2 yesterday, is this a formation that you want to see more? Is it good, to have two formations in our repertoire now to keep the opponent second guessing like it did yesterday?
Yeah, I think the manager, I think the squad we have now, I think that those are the two formations he can play. And for me, I think whatever formation you play depends on how the players approach it. They have to press. If you don't press at the right times, if you're sitting back too deep, you got to run to the ball. That's the first thing about football. You have to run. You have to press and close people down. So sometimes the players can't do it for some reason or the other. I don't know why. Especially against Arsenal, I think it might be maybe because of the traveling of some of the players, and the formation is demanding anyway. So, but it just depends on how the players approach the game. It depends on how they just go about approaching the formations. So, yeah.
What individuals yesterday stood out for you?
For me, I love midfielders, man. For me, the two midfielders, they just think, they go put themselves about. And when we have it, and even with Bissouma as well, I think the midfielders did really well. Kane, for me, will never be dropped, even if he's, I don't know, if he's whatever. I'm not dropping Kane for nobody. Because I've been seeing people saying, "Oh yeah, we gotta drop him on the bench." No, you don't drop Kane. Even if he's not scoring, he's creating. He's got that instinct. He's a goal scorer. You can't drop Kane. And sometimes he's not gonna play with Son as well. Son, maybe you might, maybe personally me, I wouldn't drop Son. Because there's just something about those two, and I think we just have to understand that you can't be dropping your two best players, although they might not be playing well now, but that it's going to be like a bang. Their bang goes again. So I think the problem we have is in backs as well. I think maybe we don't have the right wing back because the formation, the creation should come from the wing backs, and even Conte said it: 2 or 3 windows. Get those wing backs in, or we might be lucky that the ones we have might improve or get better. And then, I think we want to rush stuff as fans. We want success quickly, but sometimes it don't work that way. It just don't work that way. We just have to be patient. This boring football got us top 4 last season. So why would the man suddenly change? Until the end of the season, if you don't get top 4, come out. Oh yeah, the football is boring. But for me, so far so good. 2 points, I think, from the top. Depending on what Arsenal do, and to be honest, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Absolutely,
so that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. But we're going to have to move on because there's a bit of a lag and a poor internet connection here. But thank you so much for coming on.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you. I need to go and pay my internet now. So thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. That was 6-yard box. Big up to him. Lee is up next. Let's get him on. You right, Lee?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Hey, Lee. All good.
Yeah, all good. Just, happy with the 1-0 win yesterday. What was your thoughts on the game?
To be honest, I don't even intend on coming on the show after wins. I only want to come here after L's because I'm a pretty positive guy and I like to just boost the mood and stuff. But this game yesterday was different for me personally because I don't know if you remember last time I was on here, I told you guys I'm from Swaziland, and Swaziland is like a really small country in South Africa, and it's just majority of the football fans here are just Arsenal fans, which for obvious reasons I had to get away from.
Must be hard for you right now, Lee.
Yeah, I got away from it, man. One of the lucky ones. I got away. I'm in South Florida now, So yesterday was amazing. I went to a bar, Irish bar called Mickey's Bar or something like that. So that was like the first time I've ever watched a game in with Tottenham fans basically, and it was just amazing. I can't imagine what it's like at the stadium, which I'll definitely experience one day. But yeah, that's just what's different for me right now.
And what impressed you the most about the performance, the game yesterday?
I was happy to see the 3-5-2. I mean, I miss Kulusevski, but yeah, the most impressive players I say are our midfielders, Bentancur and Højbjerg. I'm really impressed with how they're playing. And for me, when I watch you guys and I watch, I think his name is Stel, the guy who breaks down the tactics and stuff, and everyone calls for like an attacking midfielder. I play a lot of FIFA. When I set up and I use Tottenham, I use Deki and Son as my attacking midfielders. I think yesterday our attacking midfielder and Bentancur. So why call for one when we have two?
Yeah.
Well, you think you'd call them attacking? What? You mean like because Højbjerg and Bentancur? But are they good enough offensively to play the role of attacking midfielders?
I think in what we lose from not having that Eriksen type midfielder, we gain in having two that can defend very well and can do a job going forward. I mean, it's a balance at the end of the day. I think it's pretty good and it's working. We're getting results. It doesn't look pretty in most people's eyes, but for me, I'm enjoying watching the team play. I'm enjoying watching us win. I mean, when we watched under Pochettino, it was beautiful football, but we weren't winning. This time, it's what we call not beautiful football, and we're getting results. Like, I just want a trophy at the end of the day. I don't care how we play. So,
yeah, and I think that's spot on. I mean, people, you got to say Antonio, he's got a tried and tested method to win everywhere he goes. I mean, what do you think we can actually achieve this season?
Oh man, I'm scared of saying it because people might not take me seriously, but I'm very positive, man. I think we're gonna win the league, to be honest.
Win the league?
No,
wow.
you don't.
Yeah.
Over Man City and Erling Haaland.
I mean, why not? We've seen a lot weird things happen. We've seen crazy things happen in sports, not just football, but basketball, everything. It's sport at the end of the day. As fans, we have to be a little bit deluded. I mean, I need to back the team. I think it can happen. And it's Antonio Conte at the end of the day. We all know what he does when he's been at a team for over a season. Anything's possible. And we're right there. We're right there, aren't we? 1 point behind.
It's only 9 games in, though. It's only 9 games in.
Oh, yeah. I guess, yeah. We'll see, though.
It's a long way to go, Lee. It's a long way to go. But, Lee, thank you so much for coming on today.
Nice one, Lee.
When we do win the league at the end of the season, you're going to be the one that we're going to come back to, and you can bask in the glory.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
All right. Cheers, mate.
Thanks for calling in, Lee.
All right.
Up the Spurs. Come on. Big up to Lee, saying Spurs are going to win the league this season.
Wow.
And Grandpa was saying something similar last week as well. So we'll see how it all pans out. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Player ratings and 5 takeaways to come your way very, very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.